My four grandparents didn't finish elementary school, and one of my grandparents actually never learned how to read and write. I moved to the United States when I was 21, and I arrived to the United States with a backpack and $20. I like to remember that. And I held various jobs throughout my life until I made my way to the university, which is what I wanted. It's like dream to get an education. Once I got to Richmond High, I found my place and my home in the United States. So one thing that I do a lot in the classroom are circles. So that is part of building community. I focus a lot on social emotional learning. I want students to feel comfortable, not only to get to know me, but to get to know each other, to create that community where they feel safe. I feel like the contributions that I made to the school, they have been made in collaboration with other colleagues. I was part of the founding team in the International Academy with Mr. Siever, Mr. Scatolin, and Mr. Gutierrez. That was the first very intense year, 3 years ago, where we worked really, really hard, like setting up the structure for this new academy. It's been hard and challenging, but I feel like at the same time, like this pushed me to be more present. Like I did things that I didn't do before. When classes start this year, I called every single student on the phone, my homeroom particularly, just to make sure that they knew who I was, that they knew where they had to go. Yeah, I learned to be more patient, to listen, and to be more present. I would like to thank my students because they are my motor and inspiration every single day. I would like to thank their parents, my colleagues at Richmond High School. I feel like we have a strong community, and the admin team, I feel very privileged to have the admin team we have at Richmond High. Mr. De Leon, Mr. Hatcher, Mr. Hillier, and Ms. Reyes. Amazing team. I would also like to thank Mary Lawton, who was my coach for a couple of years and who definitely made me a better teacher.
So I was born and raised in Sequim, Washington, so far from home a little bit. My parents both immigrated to the United States from the Philippines, and they always told me to value education and to take it very seriously. I'm a first-generation college student, and so right out of college, I joined the program Teach for America, and I was placed in the Bay Area. And I told the recruiters that I wanted to do high school. I wanted to teach 11th and 12th grade history, so that we can, teach students how to reclaim history and to help students, get into college and support them on that journey towards, what life can be like after high school. Yeah, so I teach 11th and 12th grade social studies. Pre-COVID, we're together in a classroom looking at historical documents, analyzing and critiquing history, and trying to find ways in which we can apply our learning in the textbook to outside of the classroom, so that the learning can really feel authentic and feel like it really applies to their lives. So the group of students who I teach are predominantly from migrant families. So each one of us comes from a different, has a recent immigration story that we like to share and we can tell that really connects us together. And so the Bay Area has a really rich history of immigration and what it was like for Asian immigrants to move to the Bay Area 150 years ago. So we do this storytelling unit in my class where my students are able to learn about the history of immigration, to talk about their own immigration story and their family's immigration story, and find the commonalities among each other and in history, and it's a lot of fun. Distance learning has been quite the challenge. It has called on me and my students to think of different ways to be creative and to overcome these challenges together. And I'm still inspired every day by the work that my students are able to turn in, despite the barriers that keep them from, accessing the learning the same way as they had before. I am just a reflection of every single person who has ever mentored me, ever supported me, everybody at Richmond High School, my Richmond High School family. I'm so appreciative of them for welcoming me when I first joined in teaching, and for supporting me and guiding me when I didn't know what I was doing. And I wanted to say thank you to my Teach for America family for also, giving me the tools and resources to be successful in my classroom. I want to extend gratitude to my students who push me hard every single day to help me become the best educator I can, because at the end of the day, I work for them and they inspire me to work harder every day so that I can be a better teacher for them. And I want to give a shout out to my mentors and my teachers who, shaped me into the educator that I am today. And so I'm just grateful.
So my name is Molly Wall, and I teach at Madera Elementary here in the district. I've been there for 2 years. Last year I started with 5th grade, and this year I'm with 6th grade, so I have kind of the blessing of getting to move up a grade with the kids that I'm working with. Currently I teach English language arts and social studies as well as advisory. It actually wound up being a really perfect fit for me, because I think that there's a space to work on the kinds of things that I care about. So it's space to be creative. It's space to be with youngsters who are very curious about the world around them. And if you're at all interested in making social change, I mean, where better to be than working with the future, so. It's funny because this is the first year I've taught 6th grade, so I can't really tell you what 6th grade would look like normally because I've never taught it normally before. So I can tell you, last year with 5th grade, it was a lot of fun. We had morning meetings every day where we would sit in circle and check in with each other and problem solve issues that came up in our classroom community and in the larger school community. We do the units of study for reading and writing, and then on any given day it could be also then doing science or doing social studies or math, because when I was in 5th grade I taught everything. So then moving to this year, it obviously looks different, but it's got some interesting similarities because I'm with the same kids I was last year. So I feel really blessed to have moved into this role already having pre-established relationships. I was really at first really reticent to even share with people that I'd been honored. It's just not really my flow. But the word got out there, and it actually had one of my students from when I was teaching at Portola many years ago reach out to me. She's now a teacher in the district. And she was just like, I just have to email you about the impact of being in your classroom for middle school. During all of what we've been going through for the past year, to have that happen, I feel like I felt that even more keenly than I would have if it were a regular year, because we're all so siloed right now and just without connection to other teachers or whatever, just to have that happen, I was just I felt like such an amazing blessing. It's been phenomenally hard. It's hard on everyone. And I think one of the reasons why it is so hard is because most of us became teachers because we are relationship people. And so trying to find ways to sustain that, that has been the challenge. Well, first of all, my mom and dad. My mom was a lifelong teacher and my dad was a social worker. And so I feel like my call to be of service comes from them. I would also say my fellow teachers. I've had some pretty incredible principals. So Allison Makala, who is a former principal, and then David Wrench, who's my current principal, are just really amazing people who are holding it down and supporting the teachers as they do their work.
I wasn't really expecting to be a teacher. I was my junior year in college when I took a class it's a educational anthropology class, and it just kind of sparked for me. And then I decided to come back to the district that I grew up in. I went to Harding, and then I went to Portola, that's now Korematsu, and El Cerrito High, and I just really wanted to deepen my roots in this community. So I teach ELD levels 1 and 2, mostly newcomers at this point. Usually on Tuesdays or one day a week, we'll start with community circles with our school therapist from Familias Unidas, and we'll then kind of move into reading time. It's so cute listening to them read and identifying cognates. They're like, whoa, community and comunidad are the same. And you're like, yes, honey. My most recent contribution I'm really interested in is from our circles, our community circles. We realize how in need the children and their families are, especially during the pandemic. So this year I created a school closet, and we put, I did a GoFundMe to get a lot of hygiene supplies, and I just kind of got a whole bunch of clothes from the community, and at one of our events we were able to pass out like 150 jackets, and it was just so great to see kids kind of say what they need or what their families need, and then have our school like provide those needs, and I really like that. It's been a crazy year, and I know like it's like not only are the students struggling, but like the adults are having a hard time. Like we're all in this weird Zoom room together, right? And it's like kids have a hard time too, because they, you know, may not be able to be monitored if their parents have to go to work or if they have to take care of other siblings. Like I see so many babies at school when I'm like, it's time to turn on our cameras, honey. And you'll just see Huston with her baby, and then you got another one over here. And I think it shows so much resilience in the children that they're willing to like do all, and the parents, right? Where they have so many things that need to be done right now, and they're also making school a priority when they have to like take care of their families at home. So I would not be at this school or like in this district without so much love and care from the community at Dijon. We have amazing staff. Our ELD house is like, I've never worked with more dedicated teachers. Our admin, Ms. Valdez, has been there for 8 years now, and she's really been a guide for me. Mary Lugden at the RAP Center, she's my coach. My mentor, Angie Barra. Escape Club, I have to shout out Escape Club. Yeah! I think that's pretty good.